The audience is advised that the following program involves themes which could be disturbing for some viewers. Tonight on Spotlight.
Is this a murder scene or is this a suicide scene?
Liam Bartlett investigates Australia's most intriguing cold case.
People lie, witnesses lie, but the evidence never lies.
Did someone get away with killing Amy Wensley?
See, I got told that they didn't find this.
Well, we did.
We tracked down the last people to see her alive.
And you were with her, weren't you, on that last day?
That afternoon, yes.
The ex-partner.
Tell us where the gun was when you found Amy.
His best mate.
Not good to see. Like your best mate's missing with the head blown off shoulders. Boom, mate.
A family desperate for answers.
For the past 10 years, we've had to learn how to fight for Amy. Sorry. I wasn't there for her to run to.
And the copper who thinks they got it all wrong.
I said, you're missing the point. It is suspicious.
Now, there's a $1 million reward on the line.
Do you intend to take advantage of that?
What for?
For yourself?
And a world-renowned crime scene expert thinks he's found the answers.
This case is so inexplicably wrong. I wanted to be here personally to tell you that.
Did you get that?
Was this a tragic suicide?
It doesn't make sense.
Or a cold-blooded killing?
It's absolutely impossible.
I thought, my God, there it is.
The truth about Amy.
Hello, I'm Michael Usher and welcome to Spotlight. Well, this coming Wednesday will mark the 10th anniversary of the passing of Amy Lee Wensley, south of Perth in WA. Her death was originally ruled suicide, but her family and friends were not convinced. Then in 2021, a coronial inquest resulted in an open finding, meaning the coroner couldn't determine whether Amy died from suicide, homicide or accident. Now, we've brought in a leading crime scene reconstruction expert to uncover the truth. And you won't believe what he's discovered. Here's Liam Bartlett.
'Cause our memories live on in my mind. I know you're gone. Pour the whiskey and the wine.
This is Amy coming before now.
Did you get that? From the moment I met her, I was like, we need to get her in our friend group. I think I was closer to Amy than my own sisters. I met Amy when she was about 16 through one of my friends. And then on my 18th, I invited her to my party, and then, yeah, from there, pretty much it was thick and fast, and we were friends, and that sort of that friend you see every day, like, you know, you're always hanging out, like she'd be working at the pub at night, and I would go down and sit at the pub and keep her company. So I was always at her house, we're having sleepovers, we were going out, we'd go camping or whatever it would be. It was good friendship.
Good buddies.
Yeah, and yeah, I miss them.
Why have you been fighting for so long?
How can I not? You know, I don't believe Amy took her life. That's not how she died.
Anna is Amy's auntie. She's taken charge of the family's pursuit of the truth in the face of their devastating loss.
But why you? Why has it fallen to you to be the family champion?
Sorry.
Because it is a big burden, isn't it?
It is a heavy burden. It's a really heavy one to carry, but I've got the shoulders for it, Liam. I've got the shoulders for it.
Nancy and I are very close. She's my little sister. And her firstborn child is Amy. And Amy's mine too. I knew Amy as a young mother.
No, sing tally.
Those children were so important to her.
When Amy passed away, she left behind two beautiful young daughters, Naya and Tay.
Yes.
They were only 6 and 4 years old at the time.
She was a fantastic mother. Everything was about her children. Everything. It was about their education. It was about their safety.
Skidamarinky-dink, skidamarinky-doo. I love you.
She will always put those children above herself, no matter what the situation is, no matter what's going on. It is those kids. She didn't speak of suicide. She loved her daughters. It just... it doesn't make sense.
It's almost impossible to make any sense of what happened on the afternoon of June 26, 2014, when the life of a young mum was violently snuffed out by a single blast from a double-barrel shotgun.
Is James going to come over and play with you today?
It's the middle of the day. Amy, her friend, Rachel Price, and their young kids are at home in Serpentine, baking and preparing for a barbecue later that night. About 3 p.m, Amy leaves home in her car to pick up her eldest daughter, Naya, from school. At 4 o'clock, David Simmons, who is Amy's partner and father to her youngest daughter, turns up after a long drinking session. He's got a mean streak, and their 5-year relationship has been strained by multiple heated and aggressive clashes. David's mate and Rachel's husband, Gareth Price, has been tagging along all day. Simmons texts Amy on his mate's phone to ask where she is. She replies, "Gone crazy." Just a few minutes later, Amy returns home with the girls. She sees the drunken state that David is in, and the arguing kicks off. Amy tells him that this time she's leaving with the kids. At about 10 minutes to 5, Amy does something that is difficult to truly understand. She takes a selfie in her bedroom with the gun that would ultimately end her life. A few minutes later, at 5 p.m, her mum rings.
She was hysterical when I called because it was a big fight that they were having. Has he hit you? No, he grabbed me by the throat and threw me on the ground. I've gone, what? That's when I said, pack your shit and the girls, get down here now.
Amy had already begun packing up her stuff and had the girls ready to go. They were buckled up in the car. It was running and the heater was on. But Amy would never get behind the wheel to take her kids to their nans. Instead, her partner, David Simmons, would do that job.
And then when I heard a car pull up, because her car's a bit loud, so when I heard the car pull up, I've gone to the front door. And it was him. And he goes, oh, Amy's dead.
Those were the first words that came out of his mouth.
Amy's dead, she killed herself.
David hadn't driven directly from home to Nancy's with the kids. First, He travelled 4.2 kilometres to the Serpentine Falls Roadhouse to call 000.
Okay, tell me exactly what happened.
Somebody shot himself in the head.
Okay, are you with that person at the moment?
No, I'm not. I had to drive down to the service station because my phone is broken. I have 2 kids and my wife has just shot herself.
Okay, how old is she?
23. She's dead.
Okay.
Can you just please come and take her or do something?
Yes, we're going to get that organised. What was your name, sir?
David Simmons.
Emergency services then contact Robert Simmons, David's father, who also lived on the property. They ask him to confirm what his son has reported. At 5:23 p.m, he makes this call.
I've come down the hill to where my son and partner lives, and she's dead. Someone shot her. I think it must have been my son. He's not here. My son made the mistake, but she's been shot in the head, and she's dead.
Uniformed officers were first to the scene that night, and leading the charge was 60-year-old first-class constable Larry Blandford. He's a no-nonsense cop who calls it like he sees it.
Are the events of that day, of that evening, are those events still fresh and clear in your mind, Larry? Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it's just like it happened yesterday. I went into the house. We go from the back veranda into the kitchen, and there's a hallway off to the left, and after that is a bedroom. I looked around the corner and came into the room, and I sort of... I wasn't shocked, but I was sort of alert to the fact that this is not right.
I got the phone call from Nancy, and I remember her saying to me, Amy's been shot, Amy's been shot. And then she's saying the police are saying she shot herself, the police are saying she shot herself. And I said, no, that didn't happen. She wouldn't have done that. And I know Amy well enough to know that she wouldn't have done that. And she wouldn't have done that with her 2 daughters in a car with her belongings packed, ready to go.
I woke up to a text from Nancy that morning, and it was something really simple, 2 lines. It said, Erin, Amy's dead, she shot herself. And I was like, what? Like, this isn't a funny joke. So I instantly rang Amy. Just to, like, your mum sent me this stupid message, like...
What the heck's going on?
Yeah. And I went to voicemail, so I was like, okay, that's weird. Tried again, voicemail again. And then my next feeling was she didn't do it. I knew how devoted Amy was to her girls. Like, from the beginning, I've known in my heart that it wasn't suicide.
At the scene, the 3 uniformed police officers were gathering information and collecting evidence.
I spent a fair bit of time in the room, looking in the cupboard, looking at all unsecured ammunition and rifles, and there was a live cartridge and a spent cartridge on the bedside table. And as I looked at Amy, there was blood spatter on the walls, and it was probably about as high as a chair. The 3 of us congregated sort of every 10 minutes or so. How'd you go? What did you find? I got this, I got that. As we got together, I said, this is suspicious. This is just not a suicide.
But both your colleagues agreed with you?
Yes. Oh, yeah, 100%. And to this day.
So there was complete consensus?
Yes.
From 3 uniformed police officers?
Exactly. Exactly.
And you were fresh on the scene at that stage? The scene was still well and truly fresh?
Oh, yeah.
The constables secured the area and called for backup. Larry and his 2 offsiders had concluded that the scene needed to be scrutinised by detectives and forensics. But incredibly, the detectives who eventually attended weren't interested.
When the detectives arrived, they didn't want to go in. Kirkman did all the talking. He said, no, we don't have to go in, because Ian says, we've got photographs. Well, we'll just look at your photographs.
Years later, at the coronial inquest into Amy's death, detectives Kirkman and Wiedemann would deny any reluctance to enter her bedroom. But, as Larry recalls, once they did, it was only a matter of minutes before they came to an extraordinary conclusion.
They said, oh, it's non-suspicious, just like that. And Ian and I said again, no, you're missing the point. There's the whole story is that it is suspicious. They said, no, it's a suicide.
Next, the lost photograph revealed.
That is it. See, I got told that they didn't find this.
Well, we did.
As we put police under the microscope.
The detectives did not interview them formally.
No.
Plus, we tracked down the people who were the last to see Amy alive.
And you were with her, weren't you, on that last day?
That afternoon, yes.
And she was on the floor, obviously. Right, don't go to left. Move, mate.
And later, we rebuild Amy's bedroom as our investigation reveals some startling information.
People lie, witnesses lie, but the evidence never lies. And there's a reason why I got on a plane from the United States and came to Australia for this case.
On a blustery Thursday afternoon, about 50 kilometres south of Perth, a young mother named Amy Wensley met her tragic end in violent circumstances. Detectives on the scene were quick to categorise her death as suicide. But that seemed impossible to anyone who actually knew her. Liam Bartlett continues our investigation.
Why would you say, all right, we're going to Nan and Pop's and then go inside and commit suicide? It's bullshit.
Did they find a suicide note? Because there's no way she could have done this. There was no indication that the detectives cared, not one bit. The uniformed officers who turned up obviously did, because they were trying to do their job. They found it suspicious, but it's the detectives that arrived that, assisted in creating this nightmare for my family and I.
When detectives first arrived here at the bottom of Amy's driveway, they were shown photographs taken on the police camera of Amy's body and the bedroom. Now, staggeringly, just from those, they decided it was a suicide and they didn't need to go inside. It was only the angry reaction from the 3 constables here that shamed them into entering the house.
I find the shutting down of the scene on that night quite remarkable, particularly given the views of the 3 uniformed officers who attended. They had a heated discussion with the detectives, and eventually they were effectively ordered to shut the scene down.
Barrister Peter Ward has acted on behalf of Amy's family for more than 9 years now. He has witnessed the impacts of that snap decision made by detectives way back in June 2014.
What I've seen is a family that feel hurt. They haven't had the decency of a proper investigation, and they haven't had an apology for the failure to investigate.
The evidence I gained from that room, it was obvious to me that she didn't shoot herself.
On that tragic night, 3 constables had formed an opinion about the crime scene and called for detectives. Larry took steps to secure the location. He was conscious that it may have already been compromised because of the position of the gun.
There was a firearm about a metre away, a .410 shotgun, double barrel side by side. There'd been 3 people that had handled that firearm. I didn't know at the time that Robert Simmons had handled it and unloaded it. Gareth Price had moved it and the perpetrator used it. So there's 3 people touched that firearm. From then on, we had to be really vigilant, let no one in the house and it was declared a PFA.
So let me just get this right. There's 3 police officers on the scene, and you're treating this bedroom where Amy's body is still sitting as a PFA officially?
Yes.
Protected forensic area?
Yep.
And by definition of that category, then a forensic team has to turn up.
Detectives Kirkman and Weedman seemed keen on getting out of there quickly. Between them, they took less than a page of notes. Sketchy statements from David Simmons and Gareth Price were all it took to have them overrule the constables that night.
They read the statements, and about 5 minutes later, it was declared a non-PFA. It's suicide.
So they just read the statements? The detectives did not interview them formally?
No. No.
There was not even an attempt to take either of them back to a police station and
No.
separate them and just have a formal interview?
No, nothing.
Along with David Simmons and his best mate Gareth Price, another couple of people had been present during that day and evening. One was Rachel McKeary, Gareth's wife at the time. They have since split, but we tracked her down not too far from Serpentine.
Hello? Oh, hi, Rachel. Rachel, we just want to ask you about Amy and about that last day, because what you know and what you could tell us might be really helpful. We're really doing this. That's really nice of you to talk to us. Thank you.
It's a little bit...
I know it's difficult, but we're really trying to do this for Amy's family.
Yeah, I don't know I don't know what to say.
Well, just tell me a bit about your friendship with her.
We were close. We had kids that were around the same age. They used to hang out. The boys used to go do their thing, and me and Amy would just do us and the kids.
And you were with her, weren't you, on that last day?
That afternoon, yes.
And
spent the day with her, yes.
What was she like?
She was fine. We made Mars bar slice for the kids. We got vegetables ready for dinner, and then the boys were late, so I went home, and then that was it.
That was it. And Amy was not fine. She was in an abusive relationship.
Do you think David Simmons was involved?
I don't know.
Do you think Gareth and Joshua know more than what they're saying?
I don't know, sorry.
Rachel, just tell me yes or no.
I don't know, sorry. Don't know.
Today in Australia, almost half of all female homicides are perpetrated by a current or former intimate partner. As the father of one of Amy's children and her romantic partner, standard procedure should have seen him properly interrogated.
What did she say to you about her relationship with David Simmons?
Look, it was a roller coaster, on and off, up and down. I think every relationship has their troubles, but theirs was more bad than good.
Did you directly witness any of that controlling behaviour?
I saw him overpower her before.
Physically?
Yep, physically.
Erin, I've got a photograph that I believe Amy sent this to you via text.
A text exchange from July 2012, almost 2 years before Amy's death, contained this confronting photograph. And the past comes rushing back.
That is it. See, I got told that they didn't find this.
The police didn't find it?
Yeah.
Well, we did. And it's on her neck. I mean, those sort of bruises don't get there just by chance, do they?
This is the first time I've seen it since it happened.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
That's okay. See, I tried so hard to make sure that I could get this available to Anna, to back, the stories of how he treated her.
Well, I would have thought this is clear evidence of the domestic violence that was going on. And for her to take that photograph and text it on a phone means that she was also very worried.
Yeah. Yep.
Sharon Dev Singh is an advocate for women and families who fall victim to domestic violence. He provides a pro bono service to those in need, and he's been involved in Amy's case for almost a decade.
Strangulation is one of the key markers of an escalation of fatal and subfatal violence.
There was nothing on the police database. There was no formal complaints from Amy.
That's right, and that's because 95% of victims don't go to the police.
Victims of domestic violence who have been previously strangled by their partner are 750% more likely to be killed. And if an abuser has access to firearms, the odds of female homicide increase by 1,100%.
You know, and this photo is taken by Amy. This is Amy saying, "This is my story."
That brutal assault took place a couple of years before her death, but sadly, it was not an isolated incident.
He had been out drinking. He was obviously on drugs. Amy was livid. As I'm not going to lie, now a mother myself, any mother at 9 months pregnant would be with your partner out like that when you're about to give birth.
Well, she was full term.
She was full term. She was due. She was overdue, I'm pretty sure. I think, she was overdue. So she was, we were waiting. We were very, very close. Amy started saying to him, "This isn't on, I'm pregnant, like how am I going to get to the hospital now?" Like all this sort of stuff.
Yeah, all valid.
And it ended up getting quite heated. I don't know what happened, but they were fighting in the kitchen, and I turned to walk out of the lounge room back through the kitchen, and all I saw was David with his hands around Amy's neck, bent over, like her back pushed up against the table with his hands around her neck, pushing her back, and she's reached out and just twisted his gold chain around his neck.
She's pregnant. I'm just struggling with this.
Yeah.
What sort of mentality is this?
He was on drugs. He was on drugs.
That at that point in time, I didn't allow myself to go that one step and think, well, this piece of shit is treating her like rubbish. Is he hitting her? I never thought that, and that's what I regret.
Next, we track down the men who were the last to see Amy alive.
You think it was a suicide?
It definitely was. I was there.
And we reconstruct Amy's bedroom.
And I just want to confirm your left arm measurement in comparison with Amy's.
Could this finally reveal the truth?
This case is so inexplicably wrong, I wanted to be here personally to tell you that.
The scene of Amy's death was, at best, mismanaged on the night of her passing. As a result, forensic details are limited. So, we've called in an expert team who can put the critical pieces together. Scott Roeder is an evidence specialist and crime and shooting scene expert.
People lie, witnesses lie, but the evidence never lies.
His colleague, Patrick Mooney, is a biomedical illustrator.
If this was a contact wound, it would be nearly the size of the barrel.
Together, they are a formidable crime-solving duo. Amy's tiny room in the Serpentine house is still standing, but occupied by someone who, understandably, wants its dark past left in the past. So, we've reconstructed a set to its precise dimensions and details, right down to the mysterious missing interior doorknob.
There's solid, verifiable data that has been documented. And although there's other evidence that's been destroyed, the basic tools to do our job are there.
Okay, and I just want to confirm your left arm measurement in comparison with Amy's. The tip of the middle finger, we have 72 centimeters.
We've also employed a body double with the same measurements as Amy to help us illustrate the scene and try to find out what might have happened on the evening of June 26, 2014.
Constable Dixon said, I quote, Amy was properly sitting on her right hand. And then Senior Constable Roberts said, viewing the scene, this is from the inquest, viewing the scene only increased his level of suspicion. What particularly troubles you about this?
Well, I mean, there's so many things that trouble me about this. The number one thing is the position in which she's located.
This is how Amy was found. How the heck did the gun end up like that if she shot herself with her left hand?
Well, the answer is very simple. The gun did not end up like that. The gun was placed like that, or somebody just said the gun was like that.
Well, you've seen a lot of these sort of scenes.
Unfortunately, yes.
Over the years.
Yeah.
So what do you think? On first glance and looking at all the forensic analysis, is this a murder scene or is this a suicide scene?
To me, it does not strike at all as a suicide scene.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
Off the steps. Off the steps.
How you going, mate? Liam.
The two men at the centre of this mystery that Scott Roeder finds especially troubling are David Simmons and Gareth Price.
All right, Liam, we're on now, mate.
Unsurprisingly, neither were up for a sit-down chat.
Oh, there he is. Okay, you got him?
But after some digging, we managed to hunt them down.
You must be Gareth Price.
Yeah, mate.
How are you, Gareth?
What's going on?
Liam Bartlett,
Yeah, mate.
7 News Spotlight.
Yeah, good. What's going on?
Well, who was first in that bedroom? Was it David or you?
Actually, I asked what was that bang to be exactly. So what's that noise?
David, can you tell us where the gun was when you found Amy? Can you tell us what the position of the gun was?
It's not good to see. Like, your best mate's missing with the head blown off the shoulders. It's not a good thing to see.
It is shocking.
It is shocking. Well, actually, I walked in there and ripped the gun off her lap and put a towel over where her face was, mate.
So the gun was on her lap?
Yeah, it wasn't.
Gareth's recollection about the original position of the gun, that it was on her lap, is critical.
I pushed the door open. For the next minute, I was seeing her, like, these fellas make a corner, right here, make a corner like that, see? She like that, mate, and she was on the floor like this here. Right, the gun was on her lap, boom, mate. Audio. That's how it was, mate.
Why did you move the gun?
Well, I didn't want to see my best mate's friend with her face blowing off.
This is where Gareth says he placed the gun after taking it from Amy's lap.
It always comes down to the interrelationship of the evidence. When we look at the coroner's details of the report, which demonstrates that there's a pneumothorax on her left chest.
So a deep bruise.
Yeah. And to me, indicates that there was violence that led to the shooting. And even if you look at the photograph, the selfie that Amy took, sitting on the bed right there, into that mirror, to me, that was a protest photograph.
I've got the gun, I'm in control.
Yeah, that was not a picture foreshadowing a suicide.
But the coroner felt differently. A 2020 cold case review interpreted the photo as an indication of Amy's intent to harm herself. The thing is that the resting place of Amy's lifeless body, especially the position of her right hand, is physical evidence that tells a very specific story.
We're going to try to replicate her final resting position. So if you'll have a seat, if you could place your right hand underneath your right thigh, and then, yeah, that'll work. And so we're going to try to manipulate just the weapon itself, just using your left hand. keeping your right hand stationary.
As part of our investigation, we're considering a number of scenarios, particularly the position of the gun.
She can't reach the trigger.
She can't reach it, no.
To test whether suicide was possible.
The gun that was used, could Amy have held it with one hand? Is that physically possible?
Yes. But it's not possible for her to discharge it and it be consistent with the wound, the trajectory, the blood spatter, and honestly, her hand positions. There is no scenario where the butt of the gun can be there. It's absolutely impossible that the gun could be between her legs and this shot be achieved. Because you have to remember, the blood is on the opposite wall.
To emphasize that, Scott took the .410 shotgun to a firing range and, under supervision, got a sense of the power of the weapon.
As soon as that trigger's pulled, that gun's gonna be flying off to the right, substantially out of her hand. There's no scenario where that gun could defy the forces of nature and go toward the body or with the butt being between the legs. The position the gun was documented to be in between her legs, more toward her left ankle, is not at all consistent with any evidence we see here, and I think we can rule that out.
Completely.
Completely.
We're gonna try to place it where the butt of the gun is more horizontally aligned, like the trajectory was described.
I don't think she can pull the trigger with the left hand going across her body and still keep any kind of contact with the muzzle of the gun.
She can't read
the experiments.
So the left hand can't pull the trigger, the right hand can't pull the trigger, and as an investigator, Liam, it's becoming pretty obvious she didn't pull the trigger. This is not a suicide. I'm telling you, 100% not a suicide. And there's a reason why I got on a plane from the United States and came to Australia for this case and not any other case. It's because this case is so inexplicably wrong. I wanted to be here personally to tell you that.
Up next, breathtaking revelations at the coroner's inquest.
The moment he said that in that courtroom, I thought, my God, there it is.
And the $1 million temptation.
You know there's $1 million reward for information.
Yeah, shit, yeah, whatever.
Do you intend to take advantage of that?
What for?
For yourself.
On the day of Amy Wensley's death, the lack of forensic evidence collected at the scene made the process of investigation more than difficult.
The chance that this is a suicide is almost impossible.
But crime scene expert Scott Roeder thinks it's enough to paint a picture very different to Detective Kirkman and Wiedmann's.
She's in a trapped space, confined, and to just put it in the basket of suicide is, frankly, against all principles of forensic science and homicide investigation. And we have all kinds of evidence in this case that tell us she was trying to escape that life, not end that life.
And there were enough questions for a coronial inquest to be scheduled in August of 2018. But that inquest was adjourned pending expert biomechanical reports, a cold case investigation, and then delays related to COVID.
So 2 independent biomechanical experts say that the evidence showed to them
yes,
that Amy did not shoot herself.
What they could see was not consistent with suicide.
In fact, they went one step further, didn't they? Because they actually said that it was consistent with someone else shooting her.
They did.
After almost 3 years, in February of 2021, the inquest begins on a familiar note.
The police approached the coronial inquest in the same way as the first 2 investigations, which was to say that there was no evidence of criminality and that they believed it was a suicide.
The Major Crime Squad concluded that the evidence that Amy died by suicide was compelling. That's the word they used.
I don't know why the police have been so focused on suicide. There's a lot there to be investigated. There are a lot of indications in her personal circumstances that would exclude suicide.
Amy's wish to be free from violence and have her children live free from violence intersects with her killing, because we know statistically and qualitatively from all the years of research into women's resistance, women's survival and women's deaths, that the most acute time they are at risk of being killed is either just before or at the time of leaving.
The fact that Amy was in the throes of leaving David, and this time for real, meant that she was in danger. With that in mind, the scene that the uniformed police walked into was blatantly suspicious.
There was an inconsistency between their evidence and the evidence of the detectives. And the other thing that's worth noting on that is that the 3 uniforms who attended gave evidence that they've never had a formal statement taken in any of the subsequent investigations.
I've never been spoken to by police, and that was right up to today. I've never been spoken to by investigators about my role.
Never?
Never.
A coronial inquest is, by definition, a fact-finding mission. Its purpose is to bring all of the relevant evidence to light, and the lack of investigative work carried out by those detectives on Amy's case was blindingly obvious, particularly that of Tony Kirkman.
One of those detectives I found out at Amy's inquest was actually doing his last shift, and he was going on 7 weeks annual leave. The moment he said that in that courtroom, I thought, my God, there it is.
The cross-examination of David Simmons was scheduled for the last day of the coronial inquiry.
You sat through every day of that inquest when David Simmons was to be called. He didn't turn up.
No, he never faced the family in person in court. Or he never faced the coroner in court. It was all done via video from Armidale Court, and he was very casual, slouched. The thing I remember about his evidence was him yawning while he's being asked questions about Amy's killing.
Ultimately, even the coroner's court did not find Amy's death to be necessarily the result of suicide.
I wasn't surprised that it was an open verdict. In some ways, I was glad it was an open verdict, because that at least would compel the police to continue investigating.
I think the coroner's inquest completely failed to apply a specialist domestic violence lens over all of Amy's help-seeking behaviour and all of Simmons's violence, as well as the institutional indifference of detectives and police. You know, 2 years later, after Amy's death, opened up her handbag for the very first time, because the police never opened up her handbag, and right at the top of her personal things was her passport.
That was on the top of her handbag?
That's saying, I'm taking everything I need to lead a life free of you.
Domestic violence is at the heart of Amy's story, and her family carries the scars of a culture that is perpetuated by inaction.
Because he came here and threatened us, even though we're looking after his daughter, raising his daughter, not getting any financial support for his daughter. He comes here and threatens us. Like, what kind of person? Why would you do that? That to say I've got a restraining order.
Family violence restraining order. That's a lifetime.
Yeah, that's a
restraining order.
Yes. Lifetime.
WA Police Commissioner Cole Blanche has a history with Amy's case that he probably would rather forget. At the time of the inquest, he was Deputy and Acting Commissioner.
The coroner urged police to formally apologise.
Yeah.
Instead, you got a letter of regret. Is that the same thing to you?
No, we didn't even want it. We don't want this letter of regret. It's not an apology. We want an apology, not this.
It just perpetuated the family's feeling that the police didn't care. And that comes through in the very first line of the Acting Commissioner's letter when he expresses condolences for the loss of Amy in February 2021. Couldn't even get the date of her death right after an inquest.
If you can't get that crucial detail right, what are your condolences worth?
It's just more of the same shit. It is more of the same that we have been copying since the 26th of June 2014.
The officers of the Western Australia Police will never understand the grief that these families have experienced over many, many years.
Now, Cole is the WA Police Commissioner, spruiking a reward campaign offering big money for information leading to arrests and convictions in dozens of cases. And, no surprise, one of them is Amy Wensley's.
But it's important, as Commissioner of Police and the Special Crime Squad, that we do everything we possibly can to get justice for these families.
So, you know there's $1 million reward for information?
Yeah, shit, yeah, whatever.
Do you intend to take advantage of that?
What for?
For yourself?
No, it's not. It's a suicide.
I truly believe there are those members in the community that will come forward.
Police say things have changed since Amy's death. The homicide squad now has a 24-hour on-call service, and forensics has what they call an operations desk. So, do these obvious things protect the public from arrogance and sloppy detective work? Well, probably not. But police insist that a case like Amy's is far less likely to happen today. Now, we're not overly confident that's true. So we've come here to talk to the Police Commissioner, Cole Blanche, and ask him questions. But he refuses to discuss it. And interestingly, his boss, the Attorney General of WA, John Quigley, has also become extremely camera shy.
Up next...
For the past 10 years, we've had to learn how to fight for Amy.
Will our investigation finally reveal the truth about Amy?
It's been 10 years since the senseless and tragic death of Amy Wensley. Even though the original forensic scene was hopelessly managed, the family is hopeful that someone, somewhere, will step up and help them get justice.
It's like putting a jigsaw together. Everyone's got a little piece, and you put it together, and there you have it.
Did you ever see your mate, David, be violent towards her?
No. Actually, nah, because... everybody gets...
Come on.
Nah, what are you trying to get at? What you're trying to say is two different things, but
No, I just want you to tell the truth and not just protect your mate.
Protect my mate. Amy's dead, sir.
feel a lot of guilt
Why do you feel guilty?
because I wasn't there.
Well, that's not your fault.
Oh, a little bit my fault. I still have to deal with that because I was stupid when I was 23 and I held on to something that was stupid. And I will always regret that because I feel like she could have left. She came to me. I was the one she used to run to. And I wasn't there to run to. I wasn't there for her to run to.
As part of the effort to get to the bottom of this story for Amy and her family, the producers of popular true crime podcasts, The Lady Vanishes and Shot in the Dark, are working feverishly on the truth about Amy. And I'm on board to help look for answers where, so far, there have been only questions.
In this podcast, hopefully we can highlight these dozens and dozens of discrepancies in this case.
All those discrepancies will be explained in agonising detail, but rightly so. That's what the authorities should have done at the time.
For the past 10 years, as a family, we should have been learning to live with the loss of Amy. But we haven't. For the past 10 years, we've had to learn how to fight for Amy.
How do you want Amy to be remembered?
I want her to be remembered as a loving mother who fought to get her children and herself away from danger, who just wanted to keep her baby safe, who wanted to start a better life for herself. That's how I'd like her to be remembered.